America, something massive just happened and almost nobody's talking about it. So President Donald J. Trump, he quietly signed off on a $7 trillion spending shift that could create the biggest wealth explosion since the dot-com era, or the biggest divide that our generation has ever seen. Now, listen, guys, this isn't hype. This isn't maybe someday kind of, that kind of conversation. This is literally written directly inside the 2026 federal spending plan. And buried in those pages, 5 specific industries just got the green light for unlimited fuel: artificial intelligence, rare earth metals, American manufacturing, defense, and, drum roll please, energy, the backbone of everything. Okay, now here's where it gets wild, okay? So this plan just triggered a full-blown AI gold rush. I'm talking investors are rushing in like land grabbers in 1849. And China, yes, the same China that controlled the rare earth supply chains for a decade, they're panic reacting in real time. Now, here's the dark side that nobody's ready for, okay? AI is already replacing workers faster than universities can print degrees. In fact, data centers, the brain of this revolution, they're draining America's power grid like a fire hydrant with no cap, meaning that this particular $7 trillion moment could do one of two things. One, it could create a new wave of millionaires overnight, or it could leave unprepared Americans financially stranded. Now, drop a 1 if you hope to be in the first camp, drop a 2 if you're concerned or worried about being in the second camp. So the real question is, which side do you end up on might be decided upon tonight. Hit the like button and subscribe, folks. I've got some serious information that I want to share with you so that you can position you and your family in the right side of the camp. So make sure you watch this video to the very end. We're living through what I call a financial turning point that most people won't even recognize until it's too late. So for decades, Silicon Valley, it was the engine. Wall Street was the engine. The private sector was the engine. But today, right now, the largest driving force in the American economy is the U.S. government itself. And under President Donald J. Trump's leadership, Washington just redirected $7 trillion toward a new set of priorities. $7 trillion, folks, not million, not billion, trillion. Now that money is powerful enough to reshape industries, shift global alliances, and even mint a brand new class of millionaires and a brand new class of people that will be left behind. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Money doesn't disappear. It moves. This is what happens when wealth is transferred. The question is very simple. Are you positioned where it's moving next? So the 2026 spending plan, it's not just a budget. This is a roadmap to the future economy. And while the average American is scrolling TikTok, checking their fantasy football, or maybe even waiting for somebody else to save them, the wealthy are already planting flags at every point along this path. And so this is the moment where the gap forms. This is where the winners separate themselves from pretty much everybody else. The only difference is awareness. And so let's talk about why this shift is happening and why AI is the first domino. So a few months back, the Trump administration, they released this national directive that was titled Winning the Race, America's AI Action Plan. Now, it wasn't a speech. It wasn't a campaign promise. This was a formal declaration that the United States will spend whatever it takes to dominate the artificial intelligence era. Now, this isn't just tech companies that are building some cool apps. This is the federal government, guys, funding data centers, AI chips, robotics, compute infrastructure. This is the digital equivalent of building railroads and oil pipelines in the 1800s, okay? Except today, the railroads are made of fiber, the oil fields are GPUs, and the gold is like processing power. Okay, so every time somebody asks ChatGPT a question, every time a business automates tasks, every time AI ingests another terabyte of human knowledge, the demand for power, chips, data centers, data storage, it explodes. This is why investors are flooding in like miners with empty pans. They're searching for the next NVIDIA. They're looking for the next Intel expansion site, the next AI infrastructure boomtown. Now, here's a line that you need to remember. This isn't Silicon Valley money anymore. This is federal money. This is Trump's America money. You know what I'm saying? Government-backed, policy-driven, scaled by law. So when Washington, D.C. decides to win, history shows they do. And before we move forward, let me just pause for a second. I want to tell you something very important, because financial preparation isn't just about building wealth. It's also about stopping unnecessary losses. Now, you got two neighbors. They compared their Medicare plans, same provider, same coverage, but one was paying $68 more every month for no reason. She literally said, I felt stupid for not checking. And that's the reality, guys. People overpay on Medicare constantly without realizing it. Now, Chapter makes sure that you're never the one that's paying more than your friends for identical coverage. They review your plan options, compare the differences, and help you find the one that actually works for you, not the one that's draining your wallet quietly month after month. This is why most people are already dialing the phone number at the bottom of your screen right there, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. There's a link in the description down below in order to check their coverage. That phone number again is 909-563-8279, and it takes minutes, but it can save years and years of stress. And look, you don't even have to take my word for it. Just listen to Darlene Walraven, who left me a comment recently saying, Ron, I just want to say thank you so much for letting me know about Chapter. Saving me $200 a year lowers everything. Wow, Darlene, thank you so much for sharing that. Stories like yours, this is exactly why I keep mentioning Chapter. Every dollar saved stays in your pocket, especially when every dollar matters. So now we need to get to the part that the mainstream press is whispering about, okay? But investors, they're watching with binoculars, okay? China is scrambling. Let's be clear. China is absolutely scrambling. They're worried. They're nervous. For years, the U.S. relied on China for the rare earth metals that power everything. Smartphones, fighter jets, electric motors, missiles, chips, magnets, batteries, you name it. Well, China controlled the supply. China controlled the prices, and China controlled the leverage. But not anymore, folks. Under Trump, tariffs and export restrictions smashed the old trade structured pieces. Beijing pushed back, but it only accelerated one thing: American independence. And so the White House is now fast-tracking mines, building refineries at home, and basically signing these strategic resource alliances with Japan and Australia. These are nations who also want less Chinese dependence. So we're all kind of on the same page here. All three countries and continents, I should say. Now, here's what China didn't expect. The United States is no longer buying the minerals that built China's dominance. We're producing them now. We're refining them now. We are stockpiling them, okay? And so that shift alone can trigger a global power flip, because whoever controls the minerals controls the machines. And whoever controls the machines controls the future. You see where I'm going with this, right? This isn't just a trade dispute. This is a technology cold war, and America just secured the ammunition. Now, let's break down where this money is actually going. So the 5 explosive sectors inside Trump's $7 trillion strategy, each one is an on-ramp for wealth. Each one is a new frontier. So explosion number 1 is AI and compute infrastructure. I'm talking about data centers, chips, GPUs, cloud power. This is the engine of the future. Explosion number 2, rare earths and critical minerals. So without neodymium and dysprosium, AI doesn't run. Jets don't fly. EVs just don't move. Explosion number 3, U.S. manufacturing reshoring. Factories returning home. Japan committing billions to build here. Tariffs pushing companies stateside. Explosion number 4, defense plus border plus deportation industry. Okay, new detention centers, more ICE logistics, largest defense budget in U.S. history. Yeah, this is big stuff. Explosion number 5, energy and nuclear reinforcement, because AI eats power like a monster. Somebody's got to feed that thing. But here's a twist that almost nobody sees coming. One of these 5 could trigger a nationwide blackout if America grows faster than its power grid can support it. So the same sectors that are printing fortunes, they could also strain the system to the edge. Growth and crisis, both born from the same fire. Now, before we move on, there's something I need to address here, because understanding where money flows is only one side of the game. The other side is knowing which information to trust, especially when social media spreads headlines faster than facts. Algorithms feed outrage, not clarity. And this is why I use Ground News. This is an app that pulls from over 50,000 different news sources and shows bias, ownership, factuality ratings, even a blind spot feed revealing stories only one side is covering. And so take their coverage comparison on this US AI infrastructure spending plan. More than 20 outlets reported, left and right, framing the same story completely different. So essentially what we're seeing is both views are changing everything. Now, if you want to escape the media bubbles and think like an analyst, go to ground.news/Ron Yates for 40% off the Advantage plan, or you can scan the QR code that's on your screen right there and get your 40% off the Advantage plan. The other cool thing is you can gift this to a friend or to a relative, to a family member for Christmas or any other event. Now, we need to talk about the shadow that's hanging over all of this, because while AI is booming, the power grid is cracking. Every new data center that's being built today consumes enough electricity to power tens of thousands of homes. And so some experts are comparing them to small cities running 24/7, never sleeping, never slowing down, always consuming. Now, here's the real scary part. We're building data centers faster than we can expand the grid that feeds them. It's kind of like bolting a rocket engine to a lawnmower. Sure, it can move, but for how long before it explodes? So if demand outruns supply, consequences are brutal. Rolling blackouts, brownouts, server throttling, downed infrastructure, frozen AI systems, interrupted businesses. America could be building the most advanced digital brain that the world has ever seen, while at the same time it could be starving the world of power. And what happens when industry, homes, electric vehicles, factories, and AI superclusters all compete for the same energy at the same time? Well, you guessed it, price spikes. Access becomes privilege. Companies with power win. Companies without it die. This is why nuclear is coming back. This is why natural gas is back in the conversation, because the future runs on electricity, and the question is whether America can generate enough of it fast enough. And so if AI is the brain and the energy of this bloodstream, then the wealth won't go to people who merely use AI. It will go to those who power it, who build it, who transport it, who cool it, who secure it. The winners of this era, they won't be the app developers. They'll be the chip fabs, the semiconductor suppliers, the cooling system manufacturers, the uranium miners, the grid expansion contractors, the fiber optic installers, the substation builders, the transmission line owners. It's going to go to those people, those companies. Because remember, when gold was discovered back in 1849, the richest people weren't the miners, it was the ones that were selling the shovels. So in this AI boom, companies like, those inside of the SOCs, the semiconductors, the NLR, the nuclear uranium, the XLU utilities and power providers, the DTCR, the data center infrastructure, and the PAVE infrastructure build out, they represent the modern shovel sellers. Now I'm telling you, this is not financial advice. This is just the map of where government dollars are flowing. So I'm not an investment advisor. I'm not a tax advisor. This is not financial advice whatsoever. Wealth moves upstream, and people who get rich are the ones who stand where the river begins, not where the river ends. AI will make money for creators, point blank, but infrastructure will create dynasties. Now, while these fortunes are rising on one side of the map, there is a darker reality that's forming on the other side, because as AI grows, something else shrinks: human payroll. And this is where many Americans are about to feel the hit before the opportunity. Now pay attention, folks. Look around. HR departments, they're automating onboarding. Have you noticed? Law firms are using AI to draft contracts. Lawyers are going to be out of a job. Marketing teams are replacing their junior staff with prompts. Accounting firms are automating reconciliations. Customer service, copywriting, data entry, coding, all being absorbed by machine intelligence. AI didn't get tired. It doesn't call in sick. It didn't ask for raises or vacation days or benefits or bonuses. And executives notice that. Millions of workers who thought automation was years and years away, we ain't got to worry about it. They're waking up to find that the future already clocked in. This is the first squeeze of the middle class. Quiet, slow, invisible until it isn't. Now, we are witnessing a labor reset in real time, where jobs don't just disappear, they shift from doing the work to managing the systems that do the work for you. Those who are unwilling to adapt will get replaced. Mark my words. Those who learn, pivot, and position themselves, they get paid. So the question is no longer, will AI take jobs? It's who will own the tools that are replacing them. Now, here's the part that the news won't emphasize, because fear sells clicks better than opportunity. This is the greatest wealth window that we've seen in 30 years. Now think about it, okay, guys? 1999, internet boom, first wave millionaires. 2010, social media and mobile apps. That was the second wave. 2020, crypto and software is the third wave. 2025, AI plus American reindustrialization plus energy expansion. This is the fourth and biggest wave, okay? I hope you noticed something about those waves. Every one of those waves had a shorter window. Now, the foundation is different this time, okay? This isn't fueled by venture capital hype or startup luck. It's fueled by multi-trillion-dollar government spending, hard infrastructure, power grids, mineral factories, real physical scalable industries that are backed by Washington, D.C. So the average person sees the headlines. Smart investors are seeing timelines. Government money moves slow, then all at once. And we're at the start of that all at once phase. Now, those who adopt early, they learn the tools. Those who position themselves own the assets. Those who invest strategically where capital is flooding step into generational wealth territory. Now, look, people are going to look back at this AI energy era the same way that people look at the early .com days. I wish I had gotten there sooner. You're not late. You're early, but not for long. Now, I want to zoom out for a moment because this shift isn't just financial. This is geopolitical. Now, for decades, China held the high ground on manufacturing, rare earth processing, and low-cost production. They supplied the minerals, the materials, assembled the hardware, and exported the finished goods. America just consumed and paid the bill. That's all we did, right? But President Donald J. Trump's $7 trillion redirection is flipping that script fast. And China is not reacting calmly. Export restrictions, sudden mineral quotas, rumors of retaliatory chip bans. Beijing isn't trying to compete. It's trying to slow us down. Why? Because if America becomes self-sustaining in minerals, chips, and energy, well, China loses leverage. Losing leverage means losing global influence, currency strength, and technological power. Experts are already warning that this isn't just a trade disagreement. This is the beginning of an economic war that could evolve into a tech war. And if things escalate digitally, maybe even a cyber war, power grids, chip fabs, financial rails, everything's connected. This isn't to fearmonger, folks. This is to make sure that my audience is awake. Everyone needs to understand that we are transitioning from dependency to dominance. And transitions like this are never smooth. They disrupt, they shake, they break, and they create a lot of opportunity in the chaos. Now, here's the piece almost nobody is connecting: the real estate behind the revolution. Because data centers and chip factories don't exist in the cloud. They exist on land. And for months, the federal government has been opening up millions of acres of industrial use, selling or leasing federal land for manufacturing, technology hubs, and energy infrastructure. Farmland in parts of Texas, Arizona, Nevada, they're already being rezoned. Small towns are turning into these AI boom towns literally overnight. Power adjacent property becoming premium real estate. Transmission line corridors, future gold vein. This is the modern version of railroad expansion. The towns near the tracks exploded with wealth, and the towns that were far away faded. So today, the railroad is fiber, the tracks are power lines, and the new frontier towns are wherever chip fabs, cooling towers, uranium plants, and data campuses land next. REITs, or real estate investment trusts, that own server farms, companies that build substations, firms that manage industrial parks, may be the sleeper winners in this era. Now, this isn't just investing in companies, it's investing in where America is physically rebuilding. Money follows construction, always has, always will. Now, I want to bring this down to the human level because trillion-dollar numbers mean nothing unless we understand what they do to the people, okay? We are entering a future where two Americas will exist side by side. So one America will be automated, outsourced, replaced by AI systems that work faster, cheaper, and without complaint. This group is going to feel their world shrinking, wages freezing, layoffs rising, career paths disappearing. They're going to blame the system, but the system isn't collapsing. The system is evolving. Now, the other America, the smaller one, this is going to own the very tools that are replacing everyone else. They'll own stakes in data centers, power utilities, mineral suppliers, chip fabs, industrial land, robotics firms. They won't be discussing layoffs. They'll be discussing dividends. And the line that's between these two Americas will be razor sharp. This is no longer about rich versus poor. It's about owners versus workers, consumers versus producers, those who adapt versus those who wait. And right now, in real time, that fork in the road is forming. Not in 10 years, not someday. I'm talking about today, guys. The wealth split won't happen overnight, but the divide will. And each person that's watching the show right now has a choice. Which side of history are you going to stand on? So here's a truth that you really cannot ignore. President Trump's $7 trillion shift is not just a policy. This is a reset. A new economy is being built in real time. And like every economic revolution in history, the first movers win. We are standing at a doorway that most people will walk right on past and they're not even going to notice it. AI is accelerating. Factories are returning. Energy is expanding. China is losing ground, and wealth is actively relocating, not disappearing, relocating, okay? Wealth is not going away. It's just moving. Now, you don't need to predict the future. You just need to stand where the money is moving to. Learn the systems, understand the industries, position yourself near the infrastructure instead of waiting for opportunity to knock. Because the people who take action in times of transition aren't lucky, they're prepared. So maybe you start investing in industries that are powering the future. Maybe you start building skills that AI cannot replace. Maybe you build something. Maybe you own something. Maybe you create something. But whatever you do, just don't sit still. The world just changed quietly, quickly, and permanently. And 10 years from now, people will say one of two sentences: I wish I had moved sooner, or thank God I moved when I did. This is the moment, guys. Don't miss it. Share this video who needs to hear the truth about what's coming down the pipeline. We'll see you on the next video.